It is the end of an era with Mithali Raj's retirement from cricket. It was on the charts for the 39-year-old, yet the announcement did moisten many of our eyes, I'm sure. But then we have a very accomplished Indian team ready to take on the world, beginning with the Sri Lankan tour at the end of this month. That and more news about the Under-19 World Cup, the 16 new international stars in the 100, and the winners of the Charlotte Edwards Cup coming up here on the weekly briefings with me, Chandni. Mithali Raj calls time on her illustrious career. Pinch me to believe this is true. Cricket lovers all over, especially India, did not believe their ears when the news broke out. Our very own Mithali Raj, who personifies women's cricket in India, has decided to call it quits from all formats of the game. Mithali took to Twitter to announce her decision, saying it was the perfect time to draw curtains on her 23-long career. With close to 11,000 runs across all formats, she holds a record for scoring the most runs in ODIs, and that too at a stellar average of close to 51. Her ODI career saw her score a whopping 64 half-centuries and 7 centuries. I'm sure all our hearts are deeply saddened because Mithali Raj gave a name to India in the sport gradually and persistently. To put that into perspective, as many as 81 Indian cricketers donned the Indian jersey after her ODI debut. In her glorious career, Mithali rubbed shoulders with some of the game's most renowned superstars like Belinda Clark, Catherine Fitzpatrick, and Charlotte Edwards. And then, she also shared the dressing room with players like Jemimah Rodrigues and Shefali Verma, for whom she was a role model. What a splendid career graph that is indeed. Let us hope we see more of her in the second innings. Moving on, India's squad for Sri Lankan series has been announced. The Indian women's cricket team will be in Sri Lanka to play 320 internationals and 3 ODIs from June 23rd. Harmanpreet Kaur is named skipper since Mithali Raj has declared her retirement, and Smriti Mandhana will be her deputy. Simran Dil Bahadur, Sabneni Meghna and Harleen Deol have been added to the ODI squad, and Jemimah Rodrigues and Radha Yadav have returned to the T20 side. 4 uncapped players in New Zealand's Commonwealth Games squad. Off-spinner Eden Carson and wicketkeeper Izzy Gaze have earned their maiden calls to feature in the Commonwealth Games 2022, while Georgia Flimmo and Jess McFadden are the other 2 uncapped players in the 15-member squad led by Sophie Devine. Just a couple of weeks back, the New Zealand board has included up to 6 players in the contracted list, 4 of which will travel with the team this time around. The surprising miss-outs for this series are pacer Lee Tahuhu, Francis Mackay and Leigh Kasperek. UAE qualify for the ICC Under-19 T20 World Cup in South Africa. Captain Tirtha Satish led from the front as UAE made it 5 from 5 in the ICC Under-19 T20 World Cup Asia qualifier in Thailand. UAE faced Thailand in the finals, who were also unbeaten in the tournament. Thailand managed to score only 85 runs in their innings. In reply, UAE skipper Satish stood tall with an unbeaten 38 and chased down the target with 6 wickets to spare. UAE will join Australia, Bangladesh, England, Ireland, India, New Zealand, Pakistan, South Africa, Sri Lanka, West Indies, Zimbabwe, and the USA in the Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup scheduled to be played in South Africa in January next year. DEEPTI Sharma, SUZIE Bates among the overseas wildcard drafts in the 100. The 100 overseas wildcard draft has become bigger than what it was in the first season, as 16 more international stars from 7 countries have been welcomed this year. The big signings for this season include Australia's Elise Villani for the Trent Rockets, Nicole Carey for the Welsh Fire, and the White Ferns Lee Tahuhu for Manchester Originals, Jess Kerr for London Spirit, and SUZIE Bates for the Oval Invincibles. India's DEEPTI Sharma, who represented London Spirit in the last edition, will be seen in action for the Birmingham Phoenix this year. Southern Vipers bagged the Charlotte Edwards Cup 2022. The Southern Vipers defeated Central Sparks by 6 wickets to win the Charlotte Edwards Cup this year. The Vipers continued their invincible run in the finals and were hardly put to test by the Sparks. Sparks scored 109 runs as they were put to bat first. In reply, Maya Boucher and her team cruised through, reaching the target with 4 overs to spare. With that, I shall wrap up this week's news. Please do drop in your views in the comments below. We'll be waiting. Until next week, mask up and stay safe.